And we've never had this excitement. Tommy Thompson said it before. We never had the excitement that we have. Now, we've had great excitement. Look, I won it. And the second one, they say lost by 20,000 votes, so sure. But you know what? We did millions and more votes. Everybody does. We did millions and millions more votes the second time. Got the most votes in the history for a sitting president. Sitting president never even came close to that. And we're doing much better. You people report. Actually, you people reported it that we're doing much better today than we did with Hillary or we did the second time. So I think we're going to have some good results here.
Vice President Harris mentally disabled.
You've gone to Dane County. You spent time in Dane and Milwaukee counties today. In 2020, your campaign sued to throw out the absentee ballots cast by voters in those two counties. What is your message to someone watching in Dane and Milwaukee County who feels they did nothing wrong in 2020? They might support you, but you tried to throw their vote out 4 years ago.
I think generally agreed. My voters generally agreed with me. And I think we have a really good chance of winning it. You know, there are counties that normally a Republican wouldn't win. But if you would see the crowds that we just left, if you see the crowds that we had on Saturday, I really think that
the most beautiful crowds.
Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's great. And I'm doing a rally in
the arena,
and I'm doing a rally in Green Bay. And I think we're going to win Wisconsin. I think we might win Wisconsin big.
Not big. I think you might win it, though.
Something else that doesn't get reported much, but we have an enthusiasm level that's double or triple what theirs is. The Republicans have usually the way around.
That's not true. The enthusiasm is just as high, if not higher, for Kamala Harris.
More than the Democrats' enthusiasm. That's a big thing. Yes, please.
President Trump, the Supreme Court. Thank you. The Supreme Court term begins next week.
Yeah.
If you were to get another Supreme Court pick, what positions must a judge hold for you to consider them?
He has no idea.
Integrity. We want people that are
far-right lunatic.
We want great integrity, and we want genius. You know, Supreme Court, you have to be very smart. And
stable, and a stable genius.
We don't want to have brilliant people. And I know many of the justices, and for the most part, I think they're very brilliant people. You want brilliant people, but you want great integrity, honesty, and, you know, that's, I don't think it should necessarily be along party lines. It usually tends to be that way, but
so if he's going to pick a Democrat?
I think the main thing is they have to be really respected people. They have to be respected. You have to respect our Supreme Court. I think they get treated very unfairly. You know, you have people that go around trying to play the ref with them, and I know these people, and they're really they're scum. They're bad people.
Scum.
And they'll go after not only Supreme Court justices but regular judges, and they'll hit them about, oh, they're not good, they're not smart, they're not. And actually, they're very smart. They're a lot smarter than the people doing the calling out. But they're trying to be Bobby Knight, you know, the great basketball coach who was constantly playing the ref, screaming. And he said, maybe I won't win this call, but I'll win the next one. And he was often right. He was a big supporter of mine from Indiana. He was a big supporter of mine, and he was a great coach, but he played the ref. They play the ref by insulting. I don't even know, is it legal to do what they do? I mean, they're so outrageous. But a lot of the judges don't stand for it, and the ones that really are respected don't stand for it. They do what's right.
Are there certain issues that you would like to see the court take up?
No, they have to take it. Want to take up? I have no. There's certain issues I'd love to see taken up, but they have to do what they have to do. They have that, I'm sure, very well under control. I think the Supreme Court has really made some very brave decisions over the last year. And I think I'm looking at their approval numbers, and they have approval numbers they're editing, but I'm looking at their approval numbers go up and up and up. Yeah, please go ahead. Right.
What advice would you give J.D. Vance in his debate tonight?
Have fun.
No advice.
I said, J.D., have fun. That's true. J.D., that's right. We have a big deal going on, and I said, J.D., have a lot of fun. He's a smart guy. He's he's been amazing. He's been a real warrior. Top student at Yale. He was a very brilliant guy in so many different ways. And, he's a very hard worker. He goes around and he's not afraid of the media. He'd stand here and he'd answer all of your questions. I have a lot of people that wouldn't do that. They don't like doing that. They get shouted at and they don't like being shouted at. But JD is very much a warrior. Very much a warrior. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, on oil prices, thank you. Iris Tao with NTD here. The crude oil prices rose by over 2% today after the latest Iranian attacks on Israel. Are you concerned about major oil supply disruptions affecting the U.S.? And do you think Americans are prepared for that? And also, secondly, on China, you mentioned China. Do you think China might be trying to seize this moment, to take advantage of this moment, try to plan an attack on Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific theater? Thank you so much.
Well, you never know with President Xi. I had a great relationship, as you know, with President Xi. He's a very smart guy. So I don't want to read his mind. But he's very smart, and he has a way of doing things that's very good for China. And he's at the top of his game. More people are not at the top of their game. So you never really know. I think that China's going to be a very interesting subject over the next couple of years. China's having a lot of problems right now. The economy is having some big problems. They just issued very big stimulus, but it's someplace. And he's a very,
It's
people
someplace.
get upset when I say it, but he's
Masterful commentary.
a very fierce person. He really is. He's a fierce warrior. He's a fierce challenger. But I had a very good relationship with him. Okay, a couple of more. Go ahead, please. Go ahead, behind you.
Thank you. You said to conflate that game when talking about the Department of Justice. How would you use the DOJ if you're reelected?
Well, I think it's terrible what they've done. They've weaponized government to an extent that's nobody's ever seen before.
It's not true. You break the law, you get
done
prosecuted.
in third world countries, banana republics. But, like as an example, they said, the documents case. Well, he was guilty. They basically said he's guilty, but he's incompetent. He's allowed to be president, but he's not allowed to go to court. It was a strange ruling. But I was exonerated from my case. That was a big case, as you know. Down in Florida, we had I don't know the judge, but a brilliant judge, totally brilliant judge. And I was exonerated and fully exonerated. And I can only say this, that when I stand here and I watch the questions being asked by people that are somewhat hostile, many people that are fair. You have a lot of different talents in this room. I was just thinking to myself, all I want to see is fairness. Our country needs you so badly. The media, you're like the policemen and women of the world. You're so important. You keep politicians honest. You keep politicians from doing really bad things. You're so important. And it's so important that the media be fair and really improve, because I watch how unfair it is and how one-sided it is. And you need the media to really buck up in this country, because nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I can tell you, I don't want any favors. I just want fairness. I want like a level playing field. And if we can get the media back to a level playing field, that's going to do a lot for the good of our country, because we have to make a comeback. Our country is a failing nation. This is a failing nation. We're failing at the borders. We're failing at everything we're doing. You look at the numbers. We lost $2 trillion this year. $2 trillion. People don't report that. Our country, we have a deficit of $2 trillion. There was never a deficit in the history of the world like that. And one of the reasons I'm going to bring
Trump had deficits that were just as big, if not bigger.
Negotiate a lot of that. He's very good at it, and he's a great guy, and he loves the country. He really loves the country. It's not easy for him to do an endorsement. He's endorsed me. But, Brian, I would say it's not easy for him to do an endorsement, right? He's got a lot of different factions, a lot of different sides. But he wants to save the country. And, I tell you the airplane story. I could tell you 20 other stories just like it. We have to be a lot different. We have to run a lot different. We are a failing nation, but we're not going to be a failing nation for long, I predict. I hope we're going to have a great victory, a big victory, and then we're going to straighten out our country. We're going to seal up our borders, and we're going to let a lot of people into our country, but they're going to come in legally. We had Remain in Mexico, and for some reason he avoided that.
All right, you're just listening in there to former President Donald Trump.